Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Patrice, and in this video we'll be discussing things I've read. And now let's get started. The first book on my list is a book that was in my library video haul. Oh boy, that is not right. In my library haul video, and it's a book that I did not finish, and it is The Witches of El Paso by Luis Jaramillo. And I think I was like through with time travel at that point, like when it was time for me to start that book. And I also needed to renew it at the library, and I just wasn't in the mood to read any more time travel and trauma stories with time travel, so I didn't even check that out. I didn't recheck that one out. So that is one that we can scrap from the list. Maybe I will try it out. So I did jump to the end, and I kind of saw how the story ended. And yeah, I'm not even going to lie to you guys. I am probably not going to check that out again. But I did finish 6 of the books, and I'm going to do 3 in this video and 3 in the next video. Because I think 2 of them, when I talk about the books, they're going to be kind of long, so I didn't want to make one long drawn out video. So the first book that I'm going to talk about today is Good Dirt by Charmaine Wilkerson. And this is a contemporary fiction / historical fiction. And you guys may be familiar with her because she wrote Black Cake, and that is her first book, which I did not read, although I did see it at the library. It just did not look like something I would be interested in reading. But this one sounded far more intriguing. So the summary says, during a robbery gone bad, Ebby Freeman witnesses her brother Baz's death. From that point, she and her family were part of media frenzy. Let's start over. Here's the summary. During a robbery gone bad, Ebby Freeman witnesses her brother Baz's death. From that point, she and her family were part of the media frenzy. Now, as an adult, Ebby flees to France after her high-profile romance falls apart. Little does she know her past will follow her there. Good Dirt traces the reverberations of the crime with Baz, the fracturing of a family, and the many choices we face when we try to ease the wounds of the past. So I really enjoyed this book. I loved how Charmaine wove the history of the Freeman family throughout the book. So she does jump back and forth like in time, and that can be a little bit confusing. I prefer a linear story, but the jumping back in time, it worked for this story that she was telling. So I didn't mind it that much. And it gave us like more history of the Freemans and like how they came to be in New England and how they became like one of the richest family in the area where they live. And I really liked the characters. I enjoyed Ebby. I liked her parents, her friends, and other people that were in the book. And this was very well written. What I didn't enjoy as much. So Abby spent a lot of time, like you could tell that she did not get over what happened to her brother. And it went from her like having panic attacks and nightmares and stuff, and just like thinking about what happened, to her being like okay. So I would have liked to have read more about her journey and like how she healed and got over what happened to her brother. Like you really didn't get any of that. Like at one point she had stopped going to therapy. Um but then while she was in France, she kind of reached out to a therapist, but we didn't get to see her journey uh, through her healing. So I would have enjoyed more of that in the story. And there was like a chapter with a few characters. Like I just felt like some of the characters in the book we didn't need to hear so much from. Um, and let's see, I would have liked to have seen a picture. So there's a jar that was created by one of Ebby's ancestors, and it features prominently throughout the book. And I would have liked to have seen a picture of the jar. Like if they could have had some sort of like rendition of what it looked like. Like I have my, you know, idea of what it may have looked like, but I would have liked to have seen a picture of Olmo. That's the name of the jar in the book, Olmo. And you kind of could piece together what happened with her brother, but I would have liked a more formal resolution. Like it would have been nice if her and her family could have gotten the closure that they wanted on her brother and the people who committed the crime. One other thing that I enjoyed from the book was hearing, so usually like in like stories about slaves or about um black folks ancestors, like we get that they were slaves and usually they are like working on the plantation or out in the fields or something. But it was nice because we got to see um, how some of the slave people who were enslaved, they ran away and became like sailors and seamen. So it was nice to get a little bit of that history. And then also that it showed how some of the enslaved people were like master artists, like with pottery and things like that. So that was nice to see because um, I wasn't aware, that they played such a prominent role in like making pottery and stuff like that. So that was nice as well. I would highly recommend this book to people. I really, really enjoyed it. And I did give this book, I was going back and forth with whether I wanted to give it 4.5 stars or 5 stars. And I really think the things that I enjoyed about the book um, really outweighed, the things that I did not enjoy. So I am still going to give this a 5 star, even though I had minor issues with um, some things that happened in the story and what the author did. Next book that I'm going to talk about is The Spellshop by Sarah Beth Durst. And this is actually a romantasy. So if you are subscribed, like you should be, now I got that from another YouTuber, but you will know that I do not prefer romances, and I really don't like romantasy because it gets a little cheesy with um like so much of the focus on if they're going to get together or not. But this one I did enjoy. I liked it a lot. And let me give you the summary. Kayla, a librarian at the Great Library of Elysium, and Kaz, a magically sentient spider plant, and Kayla's assistant, have to flee when a revolution begins and the library is set on fire. They return to her childhood home with books that contain unsanctioned spells. Kayla decides to open a jam shop that's a cover for a secret spell shop. She also discovers a nosy and handsome neighbor that keeps showing up day after day. So, in this book, like it says, there is a revolution that begins. So, Kayla and her family, they move to the city. She was living on an island with her mom and dad, but they moved to the city to give her better opportunities, and she ends up becoming a librarian. And one day there is a revolution in the city, and the emperor or king is overthrown, and there's a new government. So she and her assistant have to flee, and they go back to her home. And when she gets there, like her parents' house is still there, so she moves in. But she also brought some books with her. And in this world, like magic is allowed, but it's really for like the noble people. And they try to keep it out of the hands of the common folk. But on the islands where, Kayla is from, like they do magic anyway. Like there are certain, just to, because they're so far away from the main city, um, that the people there learn, how to cast these spells and everything to keep the magic balance. So while she's there, she doesn't know, you know, like if the government is going to allow magic back into the hands of common folk. So she's trying to hide these spell books, and she needs like a good cover, because while she's on the island, she finds like problems and gives people solutions to their problems using magic, but she needs a cover for the magic. So she decides to open a jam shop, of all things jam. Yeah. So she opens this jam shop and secret spell shop, and she helps people solve their problems. And really, this is just like a nice, like cozy, like it's a little bit of romance, but it's not like a lot of spice, as people say. So that's one thing that I like. Like it's not like, like the spice is at a minimum. There's just like some kissing and, googly eyes and stuff like that. I really enjoyed the characters. I liked everyone in the story. There wasn't anyone where I was just like frustrated with or anything. Um, the only things I didn't enjoy so much, so there's like a lot of inner monologuing with Kayla, like a lot of like, well, maybe I shouldn't do this, and if he doesn't feel this, and I don't know about that, and like she's just like constantly in her head. Um, but that's okay because the character is still enjoyable. She really doesn't like people, but they end up winning her over, so that was nice just to see her character turn, I guess, like into trusting people and believing in the new friends that she's made when she goes home. And the other thing that I really didn't enjoy, so I guess when I'm looking at magic in books, like I want to see the characters use the magic. Um, and this didn't, like usually like there's some epic battle or, um, some, they're using their magic for like some like reason or problem that they're trying to solve. So there is a problem in this book, but it just seems like we spend so much time with her like trying to hide the magic that she doesn't actually get to use it. Like we get to like the end of the story before we really get to see how the magic works. And what they can do with the magic, I guess. So I was just hoping like magic would be more woven throughout the story. But all in all, I still gave this a 4.5 stars. I really did enjoy this, even with the romantasy. So I guess I don't hate it as as much as I thought I did. I guess it just has to be the right type of romantasy. Like I don't need a lot of spice. Like it has to be like a little tiny, a little this much, that much spice. Look at these fingers. Can you see that? It's like a really little bit. The final book I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to warn you now, there may be spoilers because I've had so many questions and frustrations with this book. So just keep that in mind while you listen to this review. The next and last book will be The Fallen Fruit by Shawntelle Madison. And this is a sci-fi magical realism, sort of historical fiction as well. And the summary says Cecily Bridge Davis begins to search for the 65 acres of land she inherited from her father's family. The quest leads her to uncover a dark secret. In every generation, one offspring from each Bridge family unit vanishes and is whisked back in time. With only a family Bible and a map marked with the locations of mysterious containers to aid her, Cecily heads to the library, hoping to uncover how the curse began and how it might be ended. So I love this story because it had time travel, and it also examines, fate versus free will. There were a ton of dislikes that I had. So the main one is the ending. The ending was so frustrating because nothing was resolved. Absolutely nothing. Like the ending came out of, it was just, we don't know what happened with Cecily. We have no idea what happened with her. Yeah, just an absolutely frustrating ending. There were so many unanswered questions. So I'm trying not to spoil it all the way, but there were certain characters. So this story dealt with like a lot of timelines because it was time travel, and there were a lot of characters to keep track of, just a lot going on in the story in general. And like a few of the characters, like Sabrina and Owen, we do not know what happened to them. We don't know what happened to Sabrina. Like they made a big deal out of like her character arc, and then she just disappears like in the second half of the story. Then there's a character named Owen. So he's one of the family members who travels back in time, and when he comes back in time, he ends up killing like half of the family. We do not know why. We don't know what happened. We get no answers to that. Then, to me, in my mind, the cause of the curse makes no sense. So it says one offspring from each Bridge family unit vanishes and is gone back in time. So technically, this curse should start with the patriarch of the family. It doesn't. It starts with one of his grandchildren. So if it starts with one of his grandchildren, the curse should only affect the grandchild's line of the family, but it ends up affecting like all of the patriarchs' children and grandchildren. And that doesn't make any sense from where the curse originally started. So, yeah. And so in the grandchild that started this curse, like we do not know, like he ends up getting married. So it's like, well, what happened with his children? Like there is a family tree in the beginning of the book, and it shows like all of the characters and their kids and stuff. But this grandchild, his name is Luke. I'm just going to tell you, his name is Luke. So the curse starts with Luke. But then we do not get any information on Luke's children and like his grandchildren, because technically it should only be his children and grandchildren that are going back in time, but it's everybody. So I don't know. I just have so many more questions. Like the start of the curse doesn't make sense. And then we get to a character who loops throughout the family tree because she is a child, but then she's her own ancestor as well. So yeah, lots of stuff going on in this story. I ended up giving this a 3-star just because there are just too many questions. It's too many people and characters to keep track of. It feels like when you get invested into some of the characters, like they just disappear from the page. Like I was mentioning Sabrina and Owen, like I was fully into those stories. Like I want to know what happened to them, and then they just disappear. And again, the main characters, so we're introduced to Cecily, and we don't even know what happened to Cecily at the end of this story. So it was very frustrating. I was very excited when I started it, and then it just went off the rails. Yeah. So, like I said, a 3-star for that one. And that is going to be the end of this video. I will finish the other 3 books in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if you have read any of these books in the comments, or if you would like to read them. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.